That was amazing. Thanks for helping us celebrate the third week of Advent. My name's Kara, and I'm here on behalf of Work of Your Hand, which is a Christian charity based here in Calgary. But the truth is, I'm not here today actually to talk much about myself or about Work of Your Hand, because the reality is we see ourselves as a voice for people who don't have one. Today, I'm a voice for Lynn. I have a photo here of her. So Lynn is a 26-year-old Cambodian woman who lost her father at a young age, and as a result had to drop out of school after grade 2 to help her family make ends meet. So today, Lynn is married, she has 2 kids, and her husband works a dangerous construction job. He makes $5 a day, which is over 5 times what Lynn makes. Her job is to scavenge through the garbage dump for food that she can resell as pig feed, and she makes 75 cents a day. So today I'm here to tell Lynn's story and the stories of others like her. The World Bank tells us that 700 million people live in poverty like Lynn. And when people make as little as Lynn, they're vulnerable to exploitation. So imagine having a grade 2 education. Suddenly you're ill-equipped to see through the lies of a human trafficker who promises a well-paying dream job in the city. Little did you know when you get there, you'd be forced into slavery. Imagine having no money, no nearby family, and no government support system to help you once you're there, and suddenly you're powerless to escape. Or imagine having no money to pay for you or your family's needs. So you don't have money to put food on the table, to pay for medicine for your children, to pay for shelter over your head. Suddenly prostitution seems like the only way to make ends meet for your family. So these are just a few of the challenges people face when living in extreme poverty. We're told that there are an estimated 21 million slaves worldwide, 20% of whom are sex slaves. And that number is sickeningly high because so many people are made vulnerable, powerless, and voiceless by poverty. So at Work of Your Hand, we're working to change that. And we believe that trade, more than aid, is what gives people back their power and their voice, because we've seen it happen. So let me tell you Bing's story. This is Bing. Before we met her, this Filipino mother was regularly beaten by her husband, who's an alcoholic. Because of the money and time that he spent on alcohol, Bing was forced to send her children to a feeding program, and they were among the poorest family in their neighborhood. This photo gives you a picture of poverty in the Philippines. But thankfully, we were connected with Bing, and we were able to give her a job as a seamstress making bags for Work of Your Hand. And that job changed everything. So because Bing was now bringing in money to provide for her family, Bing's husband stopped beating her. He began to treat her with more respect. And as time went on, they were able to pay their bills. They began to be able to feed their children. They could start to save, and eventually they were able to buy a nicer house. Today, Bing is a leader in her neighborhood, and she's helping others who are struggling, just like she used to. And actually, we have our booth out in the lobby today, and you can see some of the bags that Bing helped make for us. So this morning, I'm here to tell Bing's story, and the stories of countless people that are never told. The reality is, global poverty is overwhelming, and it's often dehumanizing. For those who are never given adequate opportunity to provide for their families, and then also for us, who are halfway around the world trying to wrap our minds around a massive issue that's often very much removed from our daily lives. So at Work of Your Hand, we see ourselves as a connection between you, who are compassionate people, and people like Bing, who don't have the money to pay for food, for water, for shelter and electricity, education. We are that connection between you two. So here's what we do. We have partners on the ground who provide resources and training to impoverished people groups. And those resources and training are an opportunity. We believe people have talent, they just need the opportunity. With training and resources, these people can make handicrafts that then they can sell for a profit, and then they can provide for their own families, which gives them back their dignity. Then, here's a photo. So this is a photo of our partner in Laos who provides silkworms, who provides looms in order for these artisans to be able to make silk scarves, which we have in the lobby for you to see today. So after our partners give our artisans resources and training, that's when our work begins. So work of your hand goes in and we purchase bulk orders of those handicrafts. We buy scarves, jewelry, greeting cards, kitchenware, and more, and we sell them in North America. And who do we sell them to? To people like you, people who are compassionate, people who are concerned about global poverty and who want to make a difference, and just need to be connected to people like Bing. So here's the final product of the scarf making process I showed you. And remember Lynn? Work of Your Hand now orders 100 cards a week from Lynn and from others in her rural village. And in fact, you can see some of those cards today at our booth in the lobby. If you look on the back of our greeting cards, they're signed by the artisan who made that card. And their stories are on our website so that you can actually see what their life is like and the difference that you're making when you purchase that card. Because the reality is you're not just purchasing a card, you're also providing a steady income to a family in need. And that money can translate into things like food, water, shelter, electricity, healthcare, and more. And it's making all the difference. So here's Lynn and her daughter. So you see, Work of Your Hand is just a connection between you and living, breathing people in Southeast Asia. We're working in Cambodia, in Laos, Indonesia, the Philippines, and we need your help. Because you are actually the ones who are changing lives. By purchasing handicrafts from our artisans, you are helping provide them with fair and dignified employment. And every purchase that you make directly provides a wage that makes life affordable and that helps families survive. And we hope one day to thrive. So today we're inviting you to join our vision, which is to see communities transformed by the love of Christ, which is actually the same story that we tell every year at Christmas. So over 2,000 years ago, Bethlehem was a poor community that was transformed by Jesus. No one expected the all-powerful God of the universe to come into the world as a vulnerable baby, born into obscurity and poverty, and in the eyes of the world, worthlessness. But he did, and that's why Jesus' birth went unnoticed by almost everyone. And yet every year we remember that the wise men showed up. They traveled from far away and they brought gifts. And that simple act of gift giving, which we still do every year, we reenact it when we give gifts to loved ones. Those wise men did something radical through those gifts. They declared Jesus' worth as the Son of God to the entire world. So today, this Christmas, I'd like to invite you to do something similarly simple, but equally radical. I'd like to invite you to purchase a gift from Work of Your Hand. Because when you do that, you're not just blessing a loved one this Christmas, you're also partnering with and blessing a struggling family in Southeast Asia who were born into obscurity and poverty just like Jesus was 2,000 years ago. And like those wise men so long ago, your gift this Christmas would affirm the worth of people who are made in the image of our beautiful Savior. And you'd be joining a movement of people who are changing lives one purchase at a time. So thanks so much for having us here today. We'll be out in the lobby after the service, and we would love to talk with you, to share the stories of the artisans, and to show you the beautiful things that they've made. Also, our founders, Darren and Monaco, are here today, and they would love to share with you their story and to show you what we've brought from overseas. Thanks so much.